Until a couple of years ago, Mornington Peninsula husband and wife Jordy and Julia Kay were on two very different career paths.
So Julia is an architect and I'm a winemaker, but I think in both of our industries, we were working really hard to have a pretty low environmental footprint. I was farming organically and making wines naturally, so not using any sort of preservatives or chemicals in the winemaking process, and then Julia was designing these sort of beautiful low carbon embodied footprint buildings.
Despite their best environmental efforts, there was one harmful material that remained essential to Jordy and Julia's industries.
I was sort of putting so much energy into the practices I was using, and ultimately you create this beautiful product when you're making wine, and sort of at the last stage of the process, you're wrapping your pallets in plastic pallet wrap, and Julia was using these incredible materials that would show up on the back of a truck to a construction site wrapped in plastic. Like, it just seems like a bizarre and stupid system. Like, if you're an alien watching from another planet, you'd watch this and just go, what are they doing?
Australia puts 150,000 tonnes of stretch wrap and pallet wrap in landfill every year. And we just said, like, imagine if that plastic just disappeared.
Rather than just imagining it, in 2020, Jordy and Julia left their industries behind to launch the world's first certified compostable cling wrap. And the key ingredient might surprise you.
So currently we work with a company, it's a US company that takes potato waste from making things sort of like potato chips and hash browns. And that goes through a series of processes where it takes the waste through sort of filtration and tanks and fermentation, and the output is little pellets that look and feel exactly like plastic, except for all it is potato waste.
And so we mix that up and then put that into our extruder, which kind of heats those pellets up, makes it into like a honey-like texture, which then gets squished down into a film and rolled onto a roll, and that's how cling wrap's made. So Great Wrap is pretty much exactly like conventional cling wrap, apart from the fact that at its end of use, you can walk out into your backyard and throw it in your compost bin and it will leave nothing behind, which is pretty awesome, which you can then use to go and like plant your beautiful veggie garden and do things like that. The other great thing is that it's made from food waste as well, so it's kind of like this closed circle.
Before the launch of Great Wrap, the most sustainable option available was biodegradable cling wrap. And while this might sound positive, it's not nearly as eco-friendly as it seems.
Essentially, biodegradable as a term means that it's still made from petroleum plastic. It has an organic additive so that when it's exposed to sunlight and moisture, it'll break down at a really rapid rate, which is fantastic. But the problem is that it breaks down into just tiny little bits of plastic rather than completely disappear. I think it's why it's really important in Australia that we're actually starting to phase out those products. Simply by having a compostable cling wrap in your kitchen, like Great Wrap, really highlights something much bigger. And we want people to kind of talk about the importance of composting and sort of the culture that we can build around that in Australia, because there's a whole bunch of other products there that really can only be solved by some sort of single-use compostable alternative.
Through online sales, Jordy and Julia have already prevented over 1 million metres of plastic from entering landfill, catching the attention of many big businesses.
It feels amazing to see the reaction that we've seen from supermarkets. Like, they're very excited to get a product like this, which is just, for us, you relax a little bit about the future when you see moves like this happening. I don't think cling wrap is where we end, obviously. We've got a huge vision for the amount of products we plan to release in the years coming. But I think we are really excited to continue to develop our formula just so that we're optimising like waste as an opportunity rather than a problem.